Good morning, Facebook world. I have a story I'd like to share with you today. And for everybody that has ever been called weird or doing something a little bit different, um, that's where real genius lies. Remember, from the beginning of your creation, you've been designed to be different from everyone else. And the beauty that comes along with that is that your thinking is going to be a little bit different. It's going to not conform to what everybody else wants you to be when you're doing it right. I've got some notes for some books that I'm listening to some great books right now. You wouldn't believe it. Some great examples of if you see how something's being done, don't do it that way. Do it different from everyone else, because when you do it different from everybody else, that's what's going to make you stand out. Now, it was just 4 years ago that I jumped into real estate. And in Des Moines, I want to say the average agent could write, 10 to 20 homes. Last year I wrote over 70 on my own. And it's because I jumped into an industry. I saw what everybody was doing, and I didn't do that. There were some things that you have to do, but I wanted to make sure if I was doing something, I'm going to do it different than everybody else, because I believe that the different is what makes you stand out. Now, the other thing I will say is, in order to be able to do that, in order to be able to be comfortable with being different, you first have to know who you are and be okay with being you. Because you're not doing this for anybody else's acceptance. You're not doing this for anybody else to buy into who you are. And so there's some work there, and you figuring out, who you are, how you're different, and just embracing it. It's absolutely wonderful and fantastic. If we look back on some of the great people that have done things like that were labeled different, that were maybe at first the people around them thought they were weird, is what society wants to call it. But look at Steve Jobs. I mean, Steve Jobs, he wanted to have a computer in everybody's house. This was before everybody even realized there was a need for computers. And his vision was so deep inside of him, and he was so comfortable being him, that swimming against what everybody else was saying, he was solid. Now imagine where our world would be today if we didn't have Steve Jobs. I'm talking to you on an iPhone right now. I'm in love with my fruit. I cannot let it go. So when you are, I'm reading some of the notes that I ended up writing here. The other beautiful thing about Steve Jobs is that he went on, he's genius. He was just genius, because he went on and he went around the country and he was giving all of the elementary schools. Now, this is a time when schools had budget cuts and they needed every penny they could get. He went around and gave all of the schools around the nation free computers, Apples. And what he did is he created a whole generation of kids that were raised from that point on using his product. And it's just genius. The man was wonderful. Another one is, if you know who Henry Ford is, you've probably heard a lot of his stories. And, a few times back I talked about that you are the average of the people that you hang around the most. You're the average of the 5. And the importance of hanging around people who raise your average or who will challenge you. If you're the one everybody's looking up to, you need to go and find other people that you can look up to so that you can feed off each other. But Henry Ford was never formally educated. He never went to college. And he ended up, along the way, he always had that passion in him. And along the way, as he built his company, he also made sure that he was taking care of his people. He wanted to make sure that he was selling a good product that wasn't breaking down, so he wasn't taking advantage of the consumer. And also with the employees, he actually went in and doubled their wages from what their current wages were being paid in the industry. And he set the standard in the industry for what the automotive workers were going to be paid on the production line. I think they were about $250, a little bit less than $250 an hour at that time, and he came in and just paid them $5. And there weren't any questions asked. And along the way, his whole purpose was making sure that he was building an affordable product that had reliability, as far as he's the one that made it where parts from one type of car could be used in another type of car to help bring those prices down. And making sure that he was taking care of his people along the way. Now, when he went to go design the V8 engine, And the reason why he went to the V8 is that his competition had made the V6 engine, and through their discovery, they found out that it was just going to break down a lot. And he did not want to put his name on something that was going to break down a lot. So he tasked his engineers with coming up with a V8 engine. Now, these are all people who were college educated, and they kept coming back to him, and they were telling him, it can't be done. And he would sit there and he would listen, and he would say, okay, go back and keep trying. And they'd come back and they would say, it can't be done. It's just not feasible. And he would sit there and he would listen, but he was so solid in who he was and what his vision was that even after the people who were formally educated in telling him that it can't be done, he would say, okay, go back and try again. And he kept telling them to go back and try again and go back and try again. And you know what? He did it. And they came through. They did what was impossible to be done. And it is because Ford knew himself. He knew to the core of who he was, what his vision is, that the world needed more of what he was offering, which was a good product that was going to be offered at an affordable price, and he was going to not chase the dollar. That is so missing in this world right now. And that is absolutely the core of why my business has done so well in real estate, was while I have to hold it accountable, it wasn't what my motive was all along. It never has been. And so what I would ask you, I want to see if there's any other notes that I have here. There's a few different people that I'm reading on. The Wright brothers are another one. I mean, think about them. They wanted to make something that flew like a bird. Everybody thought they were crazy back then. Well, let me ask you, the last time you took a vacation that was far away, how convenient was it to get on an airplane? And so those people who we call weird or crazy today, we might label them visionaries. These are the geniuses for tomorrow. And those geniuses are in every single one of us. It's just a matter of if you are solid with who you are, if you're okay where you are and you're not doing things for people's acceptance, you're just being you. Then these ideas will come to you. These ideas will be trusted to you, actually. And it will be your determination of what you do with it. So and I'm sure all of you have these amazing ideas, because I know I do. That's how I ended up getting into real estate and creating, and real estate is not my larger why. It's in alignment with my larger why as far as helping people coming from contribution, not chasing a dollar. My larger why is speaking and motivating. And through real estate, that's my how, it has made my why possible. And 5 years ago, there were people around me who thought I was crazy. Well, I can tell you I'm not. I'm going to be on stages, books. There's going to be all kinds of great stuff coming, because that's in me. That craziness that we want to label is in me, and I'm solid in who I am. So I'm not going to go away. It's going to keep being here. So what I would encourage you to do, what I would encourage you to do today is the world needs more of that. They need more people who are being genuine and true to who they've been designed to be, not chasing the dollar, not being motivated by money. And the funny thing is, the less you chase the money, the more the money comes. And it's really hard to do when you're struggling, because it wasn't 5-6 years ago that I had lost everything. I had made some bad choices on where I was going to work and made some commitment to people without getting things in writing. And that's all my fault. But it ended up with me having bankruptcy and foreclosure. And I mean, it really was an amazing process to go through on taking accountability, looking back and seeing what my part was, what their part was, and where this is pushing me and not getting stuck in the moment. And the other beautiful thing about all of that is that I've not had money. I came from nothing. I came from no money. So as I got it, I'm a lot more responsible on what I do with it, what charities I align myself with, who I give it away, how I go and find people to help. And it's because I've been there. And I remember what it was like. I wish somebody was here to help me at this time. And each of you have the same thing in you. Each of your stories is different. Each of your paths are different. So as you get into alignment with who you are, what you're supposed to be doing in this world, you're going to be giving back, and you're going to be helping other people too. So I hope that you're out enjoying this a beautiful day on Saturday. And I'm actually getting ready to go and do a little thrift storing, which is my favorite thing, because I need a few things for my office, and I'm going to show you guys what my office looks like here in the next day or two. So hope you're having a great weekend. And if you're looking for some great books to read, I'm going to be putting those out there on my timeline so you guys can look. In the last 2 days, I've got like 3 books that are just powerful. and I can't wait to share them with you. So have a great day. Remember, you're incredibly powerful. The world needs you to be at your best version of you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.